Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Policy Development and Strategic Direction Committee agenda for February the 8th, 2022. Nancy, have you taken attendance?
Yes, I have. I don't see Councillor Ferrier present.
Okay. We'll count him in when he comes. Steve, you had a addition for other business?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to discuss a matter related to bylaw enforcement during the other business portion of our agenda.
Thank you. Is there any other additions? Councillor Coleman.
Hey, Mr. Chair, thank you. We'll be leaving at 20 to 7 tonight, so I'll be gone then. So thank you.
Okay, thanks very much for letting us know that. Okay. Is there anybody else? Okay. Could we have a motion for the approval of the agenda?
I have something. My hand is up, John.
Oh, sorry. Okay, John.
Yes, under other business, I'd like to know the status of our outdoor washrooms in Paris. Have we had a ribbon cutting? Are they open? Are they in operation? What's going on?
Okay. Okay, noted. Okay, then if there's nothing else, we can welcome Mark Leferrier.
Apologies. Thank you.
No problem. Do you have any, we're just doing the agenda. Do you have any additions to the agenda for tonight, Mark?
I do not, but thanks for asking.
So if we have a motion, okay. Could we have a motion for the agenda? Moved by John Pierce, Councillor, and seconded by Councillor Bell. Thank you. All in favor? Okay, any opposed? Okay, seeing none, motion is passed. Declaration of pecuniary interests, please say now or at the time it's necessary. Do we have any? Seeing none. Can we have a adoption of the minutes from the previous meeting? Can we have somebody move those? Moved by Councillor Miller and seconded by Councillor Howes. Is there any questions with the minutes before we pass them? Okay. All those in favor? Okay. Any opposed? Okay. Seeing none, passed. Business arising from the minutes. Is there any other? Okay. Consent items to receive. Do we want to move them all at one? Do we have a motion, or would Councillor Chambers?
I would move that the consent items all be received.
Okay. Do we have a seconder? Mayor Bailey? Okay. All those in favor?
Well,
okay. Questions? Councillor Pierce.
thank you, Mr. Chair. Just very quickly on 7.2.1, Mr. Mayor, I'm wondering if I'm thinking that they might be aware of it already at PSB, but I'm wondering if this is something that we should be taking to Police Services Board for our next meeting. I'm not sure if we can get that on the agenda, Nancy, for the Police Services Board meeting.
Certainly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 7.2.3, that's emergency management, public education, staff training. The training that we had as counselors, it seems like it was 3 generations ago, but I thought it was excellent. I got a lot out of it, and I just it did talk about training in the future, and I just want to confirm that future councils will also get that training. Is that the plan, to do it every session? Because like I said, I thought it was excellent for us.
Michael Bradley, would you be able to answer that?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yeah, it would be our intent to make sure that every council receives that training. We would do that hopefully at the beginning of each term.
Yeah, good to hear. Like I say, it was good.
Well worth the time, that's for sure. Okay. Any other comments? Okay. Then we have a motion to receive, and we have it. Mayor Bailey, did you have a comment or? No. Okay. All those in favor of receiving? Okay. Anybody opposed? Okay, seeing none, passed. Natural gas expansion, Robin Hewitt, staff reports. Would you like to speak to that?
Good evening, through you, Mr. Chair. Currently, the county has no incentive program to assist residents or businesses with rural natural gas expansion. Staff looked at various options as outlined in the report. I won't go through them because I'm sure everybody's read them already. But through that investigation by staff, we recommend that the expansion be included as part of the Rural Community Improvement Plan program, which is currently in development. So we're asking council or committee tonight to make the recommendation that the natural gas expansion program be included as part of the Rural Community Improvement Plan. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, do we have any, Councillor Gatward?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Robin. The government every so often comes out with rural economic development grants or RED grants. The province, will this proposed county program be looking at RED grants? Or is it just going to be county funded? This rural community improvement plan.
So through you, Mr. Chair, there has been 2 rounds of provincial grants recently, which grant submissions were submitted on behalf of the county by Enbridge, and neither grant was successful. The county was not successful in receiving either of those grants. However, the Hamilton Airport also applied for one of these grants and was successful, which will result in pipeline being run through a portion of the county of Grant. So there will be an opportunity coming forward where some residents or businesses may be able to hook up to that natural gas pipeline. But in terms of the program that we're recommending, that program is still in development, and that's being done through strategic initiatives, and they will bring back to council a report on how that rural improvement plan will work. So they will bring the information. It would be a county funded grant, but I don't have the details on whether there's any other grants the county can apply for to fund our grant program.
Okay, thank you for that. And perhaps Allison will be able to look into those rural economic development grants, because essentially providing gas to more businesses in rural areas in the county is great for our economic development in the county. So thank you very much, Robin.
Okay. Do we have any other questions for Robin? Councillor Chambers, and then Councillor Coleman.
I was just going to move the recommendation, Mr. Chairman, with a comment that the key to the successful program will be the criteria with which the applicants are evaluated and eventually approved. I think you may be surprised at the number of applications, so there's going to have to be quite a extensive criteria that can be used to judge the successful applicants.
Okay. Councillor Coleman.
Hey, Mr. Chair, I was going to move that too, so I will second the motion to get it on the floor. And I echo what Councillor Chambers says, that it is well needed in the rural areas, that the more that if we can get natural gas in some of our areas, it would be much appreciated. It's just kind of like fiber optics.
Yeah, very much so. Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I didn't realize it was this difficult. There were so many issues, but I guess when you're combining semi-private and municipal and government, and it kind of creates a bit of a mess. So I think it's the best way to go. And as alluded to, the devil is in the details about how it's carried out. I do like this approach because we do have a downtown, improvement program. So it does bring a little bit of equity, I guess, to different areas of the county. I like what Councillor Gatward said. She talked about the Rural Economic Development Program, RED. And I think if we put it in with our strategic initiatives, they're well aware of those grants and they can apply for them as they come along, or there is an expansion. There's nothing to say that they couldn't on our behalf apply for those because they know how we want to expand. I do have a question, not particularly on this per se, but on the Hamilton, which Robin did mention, the Hamilton gas expansion. Golder Associates did send us that letter, and they were looking for feedback, I think, by March 22nd. And I'm just wondering, is Enbridge coming to talk to us, and/or is somebody going to, on behalf of the county, respond to Golder and that letter from Golder Associates?
Maybe
So-
Brad, Michael. Oh, Robin, would you like to answer that?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I was just going to suggest that perhaps Michael could respond to that because I believe he's been in contact with people regarding that.
Michael?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So Enbridge did come in and meet with a couple of us, and they let us know this, and they indicated that they would be circulating council once their consultant was on board, who has done that. There, it's Golder and Associates, and they will be coming into council. They said probably in March at some point. So we will schedule that with them, and as well, my team will be making sure that we have comments from the staff level as well. So I would anticipate you may see Enbridge in at this meeting, this meeting in March. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Councillor Gatward?
Yeah, just one more quick question, if I might, and it's regarding SCORE. We belong to SCORE, and our reps are the mayor and Councillor Chambers. Does SCORE ever get involved in advocating for gas in various communities?
Mayor Bailey, would you like to answer that, or?
Councillor Chambers has his hand up, but I could answer it.
Oh, okay.
Robert?
Robert,
answer
would
is
you like to answer? Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, we have a mover and we have a seconder. So all of those in favor of the recommendation? Okay. Anybody opposed? Okay, seeing none, we have it passed. River access user mitigation strategy, Cindy Stevenson. Would you like to speak?
Sure, thank you. Good evening. I think the report is fairly straightforward. Just noting our experience through the strategy that we implemented last season. As noted in the report, I think generally staff felt it was successful, and there were some statistics provided showing the lower number of users that we had at the 3 points last year. In discussions with staff, we are recommending that we tweak a few things this season, update some signage, provide guest permits to residents in those particular zones. But before we do implement this season, we thought it may be prudent to get the public's feedback to see if they felt it was maybe as successful as we did, and if they have any suggestions before we proceed this year. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, do we have any questions for Cindy? Oh, Councillor Ferrier, and then Councillor Coleman.
Not a question, maybe more of a comment, and maybe more of a comment to the public, if that's okay.
Okay.
Just that, look at the process here. I think it's wonderful that, we said we're going to try this, we're going to tweak it, we're going to get feedback, we're going to continue to evolve this to deal with a problem that's going to, continue. As Councillor Wheat said a year and a half ago, folks in Toronto found us and they're never going to unfind us. They've decided they can come here instead of a Jays game, and it's more fun and more cheap. But that anything we do like this that has a lot of sometimes public backlash at the beginning, we tweak, and we do as staff and as council, we do make efforts to evolve and change it to better suit. So nothing's ever final, and I think this is a good example of that.
Yeah. Councillor Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll move it to get it on the floor, please.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Second by Councillor House. Okay. John, do you have a comment? John Wheat, no, okay. Okay, anybody else have a question or a comment? Mayor Barely.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect example of us working with people. I know that the people involved are very grateful. They call me, they email me. They appreciate all the work that everyone's done. Again, Kathy Ballantyne's the star right now. So they do know that we have our eye on it, and they know that we're committed to it. So as Councillor Ferrier said, they really are watching, and they are appreciating everything we've done. We've never tried to hide from the issue. We understand sort of the lack of privacy that they've received and the lack of respect that they've received, and we've taken it all very seriously. So I think that they do appreciate it.
Yeah, I can definitely echo that. Glenn Morris had quite a few people say thanks for it. So yeah. Okay, any other questions or comments? Well, we have a mover and a seconder. So all in favor of the recommendation? Okay. Anybody opposed? Okay, passed. Nancy, do we have any communications?
No, we don't.
Okay, so Chief Administrative Officer's update. Michael?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good evening. I just got a few things to update committee on. I'll start as I always start with COVID-19 and our ongoing approach to that situation. And I look forward to a time when maybe I won't be opening my updates with our COVID-19 situation. But right now we are in a stable position. Last month I reported that the number of our staff in COVID protocols or staff-related COVID vacancies were increasing. They did level off shortly after I provided that update. And that situation remains fairly leveled off. I think I can say the same for Brantford Paramedic Service, and Chief King did report to Paramedic Services Committee yesterday and provided that update on our current COVID situation. Our EOC, our Emergency Operations Center, met last week, and we did review our opening protocols that took effect last week, as well as a bit of a go-forward strategy. The joint EOC, which we sit on with a number of other partners, meets tomorrow, and we'll be looking for some feedback on various parts of our longer-term reopening strategy from our Chief Medical Officer of Health. The province did release a projection of when capacity limits would be released. They looked at, I think, over the next 2 months, phased reopening and the release of various restrictions. And so we'll be analyzing those, seeking further information, and likely be bringing back a few recommendations to council next month on some various things. So I would just say maybe end my COVID update that the last month was probably, from my perspective, the most difficult month of the entire pandemic. And I do appreciate council support through that period because it was a difficult one. I'll move on and I'll just talk quickly about a few other things that we're working on. I have been in constant communication with my colleagues at the City of Brantford regarding the phase 2 of the Trillium Way project, which is an affordable housing project. And it was outlined in the new cost sharing agreement that we entered into with the city last year. And we're actually having very good conversations with that. You may see a report from me this month. There's still some things that we're sorting out. So whether I can have a report in front of you at the Admin Operations Committee next week, or possibly directly to council, but I would like to continue to move that project along, as with the city. So we are working aggressively on that. Mr. Crozier is working on a report, and hopefully for our council next month, on just some information on what our post-COVID-19 workplace looks like. We'll be talking about the hybrid workplace that we hope to be implementing. I also hope to be asking council for approval on the future of the Curtis Avenue building and a few other items that we think council should just be aware of as we start to get closer to hopefully moving into that post-COVID workplace landscape. I'll just note that the public consultation for the lands that we acquired in St. George, the corner of Beverly Street and Main Street, that public consultation is now open, and we do have good feedback coming in, and you'll receive a report on that next month as well. I thought I'd mention, and Mayor Bailey is aware of this, our MPP set up a meeting for the staff at a number of local agencies to meet with the Ministry of Finance prior to the provincial budget. And Mayor Bailey and I discussed it, and because we didn't have it was a fairly short turnaround time, and I did attend, as well as my colleagues from the city attended as well. And I'll just tell you what I told the folks from the Ministry of Finance about things that I felt we would be looking for from the province in the upcoming budget. I talked about the need for continued capital investment, and I pointed out the Bishopsgate Road interchange as a key project that we have been waiting for provincial funding on. I also talked about the interchange improvements to Rest Acres Road as a place we would also like to see some funding. I also talked about stable capital investments of an unspecified nature, specifically the continuation of the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund. Council will recall that funding came in during the budget, and it was quite welcome to help us with our capital budget. And I asked the province to make that funding an ongoing commitment. And finally, I talked about stable operating funding. And the specific two pieces of funding that I spoke of was paramedic services annual cost sharing, which we would like to see become more stable, more predictable, and increasing annually based on our annual budget increases, because there's always been that 1 year gap that's a continued challenge for the municipal partners. And I also talked about the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund, which is a fund that we receive every year, and it's not an unsubstantial fund, and we would like to see it stabilize as well. So it was a fund that was going down every year for a number of years, and has kind of leveled out, but we'd like to see that not only level out, but increase annually based on the rate of inflation. So those were the things I shared with the Ministry of Finance during the 3 minutes I had to talk to them. And so I hopefully council agrees with my the items I brought forward. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'll end my update, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any questions for Michael tonight? Councilor Gatward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to CAO Bradley. You mentioned that Mr. Crozier would bring forward a report on hybrid workplace. And I'm wondering, will that report give us an update on the new customer service offices in the libraries and how that is coming along and when that will be starting? I know it's not a good time to start right now, but I just wonder if there's an update. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, no, it wasn't our intent to have that on, because I think it's a bit early to be updating on a program that hasn't really started yet. So what I will do though is I'll get an update, and for my March CAO's update, I'll provide a summary of where we are with that. And I think it was our intent once that was well underway, we would formally report to council with a written report.
Okay. Do we have any other questions for Michael? Okay, I don't see any more. Well, thank you very much, Michael, for that update. Other business. Steve, would you like to start with yours?
Sure. Thanks, Mr. Chair. I'll be quick. Excuse me. I'm hoping council will extend me a little bit of latitude here, in that I wanted to bring up the subject of bylaw enforcement related to fireworks. And I know it's not, it seems like we're a long way away from fireworks season, but it is a topic that comes up every year, and I'm hoping we can get ahead of it. And with council's indulgence, I would like to move that staff be directed to investigate options for the control and enforcement of noise related to fireworks. If there's a seconder, I can speak to it a little bit further, but it's fairly self-explanatory.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Bell. And so you go ahead.
Thanks. And it's just, yeah, we do get complaints about this every year. And it's specifically about the noise part of fireworks. There are silent fireworks now, but nobody seems to buy them. And the grade and size of the fireworks that are sometimes available to consumers are almost competitive with what you would expect to see at a big, a big event like at Canada's Wonderland or Harborfront or somewhere like that. So it's I think it's worthwhile to ask our staff to put a little time into this and related to all of the holidays that where fireworks are utilized. So that's about it.
Okay, Councillor Coleman and then Councillor Gatward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I will support this recommendation or this motion. I fully have had a number of calls from horse farmers that have had problems with the public that moves out into the rural areas and think that they can set fireworks off any time of the year and not notify neighbors this is happening because as a livestock farmer, I don't have too much problem with it with cattle, but horses are extremely sensitive towards it and have had caused problems of getting out, getting on the road. There was a horse kill down here on Painted Road last year due to the fireworks. So it does happen. So I will support moving us forward. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Gatward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The motion that Councillor House read, before we vote on it, could he please read it one more time since we don't have a copy of it? And the other comment I wanted to make is I do believe the fire department has policies already about fireworks and the types that you cannot let off and the days when you can let them off and when you can't, etc., etc. So I'm not sure which staff you're making your request of, but there is a lot of information online about fireworks already. So if we could just have the motion read again, I would appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Councillor House.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. The motion is that staff be directed to investigate options for the control and enforcement of noise related to fireworks.
Okay, Councillor Gatward. Is there any other questions? Councillor Miller and then Councillor Bell.
Yeah, just the point where, I mean, obviously the motion's on the table, but just for future, I mean, if you want to bring a motion forward, just put it on the agenda, then we can read it, give it some thought, because you're bringing it forward the motion. I've done the homework on it, so we're expected to vote on it. We're not at the council meeting, it's a committee meeting, but it's nice to see it ahead of time. That's why we have notice of motion. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay, noted. So any other comments? Oh, Councillor Bell. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Speaking to Steve's motion, the feedback I get from people is a frustration that fireworks go on beyond the given celebration day. I don't think anybody objects to having fireworks on a particular holiday. It's the 5 days before and the 5 days after that frustrate people. So if we could concentrate on that in the course of the staff work, I would appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Gatward and then.
Well, just a minor comment in response to what Councillor Bell said. If July 1st is a holiday and it's raining and cloudy and a terrible day, people will wait till the next day and do the fireworks then, particularly if it's on a weekend. So I think it's a difficult I don't know if the bylaw currently says 1 day either side, but I'm sure there's something there. So, but it's not always possible to do it on the holiday. I know they've postponed the fireworks in Brantford and I think in St. George because of bad weather, and then they have it on an alternate date. So thank you. That's my comment.
Okay. Yeah, any other comments before I call the vote? Okay. All those in favor? Those opposed? Michael, would you like to comment on that, or? It was passed.
I was prepared to speak to the next item.
Okay, okay. So for the next item, the washrooms in Paris update. So Michael, you able to speak to that then?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I can just, I don't have a full slate of information, but I think I'm fairly up to date on the project. So the project was scheduled to end at to be completed by the end of April, and we are actually on schedule despite some of the workplace challenges that have been everywhere over the last few months. I think we're pleased with that. The site itself, all of the framing of the external washroom is complete. The washroom is fully enclosed now, and all of the plumbing is completed as well, all the plumbing connections. And the work that's being done now is the interior finishing. They've got it framed and enclosed, and they have heat in there, and they're doing all the interior finish. And then once that's done, exterior cladding and the final roof cladding will be put on, and then the doors need to be put on, and then it'll be done. So I think the project's actually gone quite well, and I think the contractor's done a very good job of keeping their site right in the downtown here fairly constrained. So we're pleased with how the project is going, and at this point, barring any staffing issues in the contractors, and we see it probably being completed on or a little bit before schedule and in time for the busier season down here. So thank you.
Councilor Ferrier.
Yeah, just a quick one here. I just want to say thanks for putting the sign up to the staff, putting the sign up saying it is a bathroom. I'd posted a photo of this several weeks ago, and people were like, "Oh, the secrecy of the county of Brant on this." And it was public meeting. It was, we voted on it. We took input from BIA and other folks. It's been a long time in the making. It was never a secret, but it only helps to label it, I guess. And people are very excited about this, residents and business owners alike. So it's good to see and good to get the update. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you very much, Michael, for the update. We have a motion to move in camera then. Moved by Councillor Pierce and second by Councillor House. All in favor? Okay. Could you take us in camera, Nancy?
I will do that. Just not please.
Okay. Any comments before we move for adjournment or statements for the betterment of the community? Councillor Chambers.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to indicate through you to Councillor Gatward that I have contacted Kim Earls at SCORE and asked her to give you a complete briefing on natural gas from SCORE's perspective. So you will be getting an email from myself and from Kim Earls from SCORE to give you a more complete answer than the answer that I gave to your question earlier.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other comments? Okay, do we have a motion for adjournment then? Moved by Councillor Pierce. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
Good night, all.
Good night, all.